Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to yet another episode of the Wrestle Geek podcast. My name is Mitch, your host, one of your hosts, and I'm joined alongside by, as always, my other co-host, joining us from across the seas. What's up, Howie?
It's all good, man. It's all good. Everything is fine here. Easter has passed this weekend, just gone. I've eaten loads of chocolate because we love the chocolate eggs.
We love the Cadbury's.
Love the Cadbury's. My kids get given loads of chocolate eggs, so I eat them. You know, because they can't eat them all. They're only young. I'm doing it for their teeth.
Yeah, you're doing it to benefit them.
Doing it for the sake of their health. I'm helping with the chocolate, and the weather's getting a little bit better. We haven't had any more snow, so it's all good.
That's always a plus.
Yeah,
and also, we have a special guest this evening. He's very special, if you know what I mean. And joining us from California, the warm state, unlike New York. But what's up, Dustin? How you doing?
Doing good. How you guys doing tonight?
We're here. We're alive, thank God, and we're ready for another pre-WrestleMania podcast. So we had to bring you along for the journey, Dustin. We wanted to bring you along for the ride. And we're happy to have you on, as always.
I feel like you're Coolio. I'm on a fantastic journey.
Oh, yeah. One of my favorites. I love it. I love the original, too, actually. But in any case, so how was your Easter, guys? Everybody have a nice holiday?
Yeah, man. I've just been, what have I done? Just lots of family time. I've been doing a bit of leather work, actually. Nothing kinky. More likely that I'm a championship belt mark, and I've been re-leathering a championship belt of mine just because I fancied a change and wanted to get my tools out. And I had some leather left over and some dye, so I've been doing that. And all is good creatively, and family is happy. Everyone's healthy. Praise the Lord. Everyone is good. And and just looking forward to WrestleMania. I just feel like I'm just hanging around. My life is just, I woke up this morning, the beginning of the week. Not beginning of the week, is it? We're halfway through the week. I woke up this morning and I'm just thinking, it felt like a fucking Monday, I'll tell you. Every day feels like Monday when you're looking forward to WrestleMania.
I know. Trust me, I'm with you on that.
I'm just like, hurry up already. I can't think of anything else. I feel like I'm 12 again. The build up to this WrestleMania has taken me back to WrestleMania 12 with the showdown of the Hitman and the Heartbreak Kid.
Oh man, I long for those days to return, but I know they never will. In the words of an amazing music artist, those days are gone. They are gone. But Easter was good. We had a nice holiday. It was nice and low key. It was at home, and had the in-laws come over, and mom came over, and we had a nice little lasagna that was beautiful that I made, of course. And it was a good time. We had a nice holiday. No stress, no aggravation. It was just very, very nice and low key. But
did you have any wine with your lasagna? I like to have a drop of the red with my lasagna.
You know what it is? It's like my mom is very anti-alcohol, so I try not to drink any alcohol.
You have a straight edge mother.
Yeah, she's not. She's never partaken in alcohol or smoking or any. Wow. So she's very, for the most part, she's pretty against it. So that's why.
So you have to avoid it.
I try not. I try not to do it. Even on my birthday when she took me out to dinner, and I made it a point not to have any alcohol or anything like that. So
that's very respectful. Very respectful of you. You're a good man.
Once in a while, I get a good. I'm a good son, I guess. But So how about you, Dustin? Quiet Easter at home?
Yeah, I just stayed home, did laundry, cleaned my apartment, took all the negativity and took it out.
There you go. And the new Dustin has risen. Yes.
Yes, I'm coming back as the American Badass.
Oh, yes. Now you're talking my language. Oh, yes.
It's got a new gimmick. You need to start doing some vignettes some video vignettes, like teasing your character.
You mean like they should have been doing for the last few weeks? Oh yeah. Well.
I was gonna get a motorcycle, but I decided I'll probably get a Vespa because they're cheaper and it hurt myself to do that.
You're gonna look like Big Pun on the in that I'm not a player, I just crush a lot video at the end when he's on that tiny little Vespa and he's this big guy. It's gonna look pretty funny.
I used to own a Chevy Spark. If anybody knows how big I am, you would know how hilarious that thought is.
Oh Jesus! Well, in that case, I have no idea what a Chevy Spark is.
Nor do I. I want to see what a Chevy Spark is.
Me too. I'm actually gonna Google it right now. I'm assuming it's a small car, but
I'm close to 6 foot and I weigh about 300 pounds. So go ahead and look at how small that car is.
Oh, I see it. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks practical.
I could reach everything. From the
not as small as the Urkel Izetta, but definitely small car.
I don't think we have the Chevy Spark here. We do have Chevy here now. They've been General Motors, isn't it?
Yes.
They own Vauxhall here, which are what are they called? Opel everywhere else, and so they've kind of come through that. But I'm not familiar with this.
We're infiltrating with our American cars.
In Carter, we're going to be like Top Gear. And do you have Top Gear over there? Are you familiar with Top Gear?
No.
Jeremy Clarkson, English guy, three English guys driving cars, talking cars. BBC.
Oh yeah, talking cars. Yeah, they were big in the 90s.
Yeah, kind of like
Don't make fun of Howie. He just got Knight Rider.
Man, I knew they were sometimes behind overseas, but geez, that's just this is just.
They're on crazy. Episode 2. Don't tell him that Kit's a car.
Awesome. I love Knight Rider. You know?
The whole 2 episodes you've seen.
I love it. Didn't they make a remake of that? That sucked.
They
Keep
did.
trying it.
They did.
It wasn't bad. I liked the remake. It wasn't bad. I had no problem with the remake.
I don't know. It's never as good. It hasn't got.
Didn't they also do a? Richie's a big Knight Rider fan. He was telling me about like there was another one where they had like David Hasselhoff was there, but then they had like a new guy driving or something like that, and it was like
I think David Hasselhoff. I don't remember if he was. I don't know. I know that there was a new guy driving, but he still was called Michael Knight, so I don't know if it was the same show. I don't remember seeing Hasselhoff though, and I watched, I believe, every episode.
It's crazy. It's crazy. What about wrestling? What's happening in the world of wrestling, guys?
I don't know. A whole lot, I guess. But again, like you said, it's kind of like a teaser. It's like a cock tease, if you will. You know, it's just like it's going on, but we're all just waiting for that big enormous eruption. You know what I mean?
They've just been blown on our balls for too long.
Yeah. So, but let's go into Raw. Let's do Raw. Let's cover that. That always gets everything kick-started. Yeah. I miss the old wrestling theme of yeah. I miss the old Monday Night Raw theme when it's like
that was a great thing.
I don't know. Every time I hear that, I get like goosebumps. I don't know. I love it.
Takes you back. That's back.
I miss the old Raw's War one.
Oh yeah.
Life in the box. Enjoy the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Thorn in Your Eye? Wasn't it Thorn in Your Eye or something like that?
Yeah, Thorn in Your Eye. That was on the Full Metal album.
It was.
Thorn in Your Eye.
I thought it was awesome, by the way, that you found that ad. Wasn't it you that found the ad? Or was it...
Yeah, I did. Because my the old family home was sold recently, and so I had to clear the attic. So I've got boxes and boxes of stuff, which is like a time capsule from the mid '90s. And so I kept all my WWE, WWF magazines in like folders, and so they're in pristine condition. So I got all of them, but there was other random stuff that was just like mixed in with other papers and that. And I found, I basically found like a plastic wallet, and inside the plastic wallet was like all of my posters that I had up on my wall when I was a teenager. So I had loads of pictures of Sonny, and in between all that was some other stuff. And I found that advert for
Now, getting back to the Sunny posters, did you retreat to the bathroom immediately and pretend like it was really 1990 and relieve yourself?
Because I was 13 years old when I.
There you go. That was it. That was the age. Yeah.
Yeah. God.
See, but the difference is Sunny didn't age like fine wine.
Oh.
And with a Google search, you can see her do things that she was doing in the 90s for free.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't help but
Tori Wilson has aged beautifully.
Oh my God! So is Michelle McCool, and so is Trish Stratus.
Stacey Keebler. They look.
Mickey James.
Mickey James looks great as well.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
But yeah, Sunny just she's had a hard life.
I couldn't help but watch the porn because it was Sunny, so you had to watch it.
Oh, we've all watched it.
I mean, it was almost like an obligation. But once I saw the anal warts that she had, that was it for me.
But let me put it like this: it's basically for me, it's like now we know why Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart were able to go 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
Well, Hitman always vehemently denied having any sunny days. But yeah, Shawn Michaels, he did.
There's a shocking Saturday Night promo where he is most likely doing hand stuff with her.
Oh, I've seen that. He's on cocaine as well. Clearly in that.
Yeah.
He's on somas or something because he's like.
Yeah.
He's strung out. His eyes are like.
Yeah.
Fucking, bing!
Wasn't that before?
And he's looking down her top, and she's like sat on his lap, isn't she? It's in your house.
Wasn't it?
Like next
it was
him.
one
No,
night only.
down.
Wasn't it one night only? Or
Yeah.
something like that. It was the one.
Yeah, it was. It most definitely was. But it was shot in like I had never seen that before.
He even alludes to. He even says something like, I think he's talking about getting his hands on the title or something, and he goes, "But it's not as good as what I've got my hands on right now." And he's, and she's like, you can tell by the look on her, look on her face. He just stuck his finger somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, it was definitely one night only. The international, the one where he beat the Bulldog for the European title.
Yeah, because that's what they were talking about. They were talking about the European title.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And I also remember Shotgun Saturday Night where she came out and said, was one of those, like, Saturday Night, what was it, Heat or something like that? But anyway, it was that she came out and she said something about sunny days. Like, the Heart Foundation's going to have sunny days or some shit like that. And it was like, and that was when she had her, like, rumor. It was, like, almost like an informer type segment that she used to come out and, like, say rumors of wrestling or whatever. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, she was always my favorite. She was always my favorite diva, if that's what you want to call it.
Oh, she always was. I always preferred her over Sable. That's for sure.
Yes, same. And then it wasn't until much later.
She was more my body type. I don't like the
I liked Mickey James. Like,
oh my god, she was my favorite.
She's still fantastic now. I mean, wow. God, wrestling. It's great.
So Raw, here we go. Team Rousey and Team McMahon collide. So Jonathan Coachman is like,
we've been talking about Raw this whole time. We were talking about Sunny.
Well, yeah,
Hey, do you remember Raw magazine? Do you remember
I loved it.
I was at the Monday Night Raw when they debuted that magazine.
I've got the first.
Wasn't it the first one was Vader, right?
Still.
Wasn't it Vader's face?
And then they actually had both. They had both copies at that Raw. It was the night after WrestleMania 12, Orange Show Pavilion. They taped 4 episodes. That was the night Sable basically debuted, the night Mark Mero debuted, the night Mankind debuted.
That was a good year. Wasn't it? Fuck.
Oh, it was a
great
night.
I thought Mankind debuted in the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Nope. Mankind debuted it was that night. He had come out and attacked Undertaker. I believe that's when he debuted.
Oh, yeah, because they were already in California because WrestleMania was in Anaheim, wasn't it, or something like that?
Yep. And that was the first and last time they ever ran Raw at that building. After that, they never returned for any event or anything. Wow. It has not been there since April 1st, 1996.
Jesus.
And I remember because it was my first Raw, I had to have those gay Shawn Michaels gloves, the red ones that were fingerless.
I had them.
I had
them.
I had to have them, man. Like, Shawn Michaels was my dude. My Hasbro had that belt for like 4 years.
And then when you sweated, your hands would turn red because the red dye would come off on the inside of the gloves.
And then, it was, and the building was hot, Oh, that was also the night Yokozuna got taken out on a forklift.
Yeah, because Vader crushed his leg on the rope.
Yeah, he got Vader bombed on his leg.
Yep.
That was cool.
They taped 4 epic episodes, and then Shawn wrestled Jerry Lawler. It was such a great thing. Warrior came out. It was like, it was one of those things where it's like, I remember Undertaker was wrestling Justin Hawk Bradshaw, and that's when Mankind came out.
Yep, and he put the mandible claw on him.
Funny story. Actually, I met Mankind a couple years ago, and I was like, hey, I was there the night you debuted. He's like, yeah, in Bakersfield. No, man, it wasn't in Bakersfield. Really?
Maybe Cactus Jack debuted there or something.
It was the chair shots, I swear.
Actually, no, Cactus Jack debuted in the Garden. That was the Garden.
I blame The Rock.
Yeah, he used to hit him a lot.
I blame myself.
Yeah. But that Raw magazine, that was
wasn't it the Vader one was the first one, right?
I've got it still. It's in pristine condition. I don't think it's worth anything. I always kept it thinking, the first edition of anything one day it'll be worth something. Nah, not worth jack shit. But I like it, and I've got a whole bunch of them, and some quite a collection of WWF magazines. Which, the Raw magazine was crazy because I went to the shop. That first one I got, I always remember. I saw it in the shop and I was like, oh, that looks cool. So I got it. It was fine. But then the later issues, they didn't have Vader on the front or wrestlers. They started putting Sunny and Sable and things like that on the front of girls. And it said, Raw, that logo, Raw. It was like a stamp.
Yeah,
and
so they were almost making it like
it looked like a porno.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it was a magazine called Raw, and it had a girl on the front in a bikini, a pretty girl in a bikini. So when I went to the shop to buy it, just like my local post office where they have the bloody magazines, I would go in there, and the woman at the counter, I was like a 12-year-old kid. So like the woman at the counter, she had a go at me. She was, because I'd reserved it. I'd said, every time, can you always put me by an issue of WWF Raw magazine? And I turned up, this woman's just like, she was just like, I can't sell you this. And I'm like, why not? And she's like, because it's pornography. And I'm like, I went bright red. I was like, what? I was just a kid, so I didn't know how to react. I was like, no, it's a wrestling magazine. And now I was even more mortified. I had to admit that I was buying a wrestling magazine because I was always a little bit shy about that as well, because I thought people would be like, what? You realise it's not real? And then, but she had a proper fucking go at me. She was like, the Puritan lady in the shop, but I ended up getting it. I sort of went home and I was just like,
people
were
always hating on wrestling. They were always hating on wrestling. Yeah. You watch that fake shit? Oh yeah, I do actually.
It's funny because there I was going, it's not pornography. It's not pornography. It's a wrestling magazine. And then I went home and then I beat one out over the centerfold.
It's not pornography. Where's my lube?
You know what I'm saying?
You're like, how dare you accuse me of using this as material to relieve my stress? I am a 13-year-old boy. I don't even know what that is. Can I get some of that lotion and some Kleenex, please?
You know what? Just forget it. I'll use my sock.
Oh, my word. The WWE is with us every step of the way.
Oh, yes.
I actually had a girlfriend break up with me because I chose wrestling over her.
Well, you told me this story.
Fuck.
Yep. She told me, she goes,
tell the story.
Okay, so
might as well at this point.
I was 21, and she was 18. She told me, because I went, and remember it was like the 10th anniversary of Raw or 15th anniversary. It was something like that. And I was watching it at her house, and she goes, this is fake, right? And I forgot what her favorite show was, but I looked at her, I go, what's your favorite show? And she said something, it was like The Hills or something at the time. And I go, that's fake, right? No, it's not. I go, okay. And then she said some other show, like, it was something on TV, like a drama or something. I go, that's fake, right? Well, they're actors. I said, yeah, they're actors. Like, everything, it is a stylized drama of people, it's a live action drama. It's got all the categories. You got your comedy, you got your drama, you got your physicality, you got your action, you've got all that. And
they never admit to it. They always call it more often than not. Like Ric Flair will always refer to wrestling as the greatest sport in the world, who very openly just call it the greatest sport in the world. When and some people may call it that, but it does actually have more in common with a performance art in terms of it's just that it is a performance art that is depicting sport and or combat, and that in itself.
I always found myself defending wrestling when I was a kid.
Always, yeah.
Well,
And
but
I was always the nerd in school and everything like that. But I know it's a shocker. But yeah, and I always found myself defending rather than people be like, oh, it's fake, oh, and I used to say, you know what, it's scripted, but it's not fake, It's not.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually, Dustin, did you when you was explaining that story about your girlfriend? I was gonna say, did you Dr. David Schultz her?
Did you slap a freaking ear?
just like, you want it fake? Slap.
How does that feel? Does that feel fake?
Actually, what I told her was, I literally told her that, I said, I looked at her, I go, you know what? Wrestling was here before you, and wrestling will be here after you. So if you want to go, there's the door.
Whoa.
Because honestly, wrestling's always been a part of my life, and it's always been something that I can rely on to get me through.
Yeah, totally.
On a completely sad note, my dad passed in October. I don't know how I'm going to get through WrestleMania, because every year he'd be like, I've seen every WrestleMania live, right? Every year, same freaking story. I get it. You've seen every WrestleMania live. And it's going to be the first one he's going to miss. Wow. And it's going to be tough, but at the end of the day, wrestling's always been part of my life. Yeah. The first pay-per-view after he passed was hard. Everything, I can't, if I stopped watching, he'd be really disappointed in me. Yeah. And the fact that, my mom used to hang out at the Sportatorium in Texas. She was famous among the wrestlers.
You're not saying she was I don't want to say.
My mother was a ring rat.
A ring rat. That's what I was.
My mother was a ring rat.
I don't know why I was holding back from saying that after all the shit he says about my wife, but I was even holding back on that. I mean, I guess it's his mom, so I have to be. When it's his mom, you gotta be a little bit more. I guess I gotta hold back.
Okay, I'll tell you a story. Okay, every single one of my friends, when I talk about my mom, they go, "Hey man, that's your mom. You can't talk like that." And then they meet her, and they're like, "Man, you were not wrong." But my mom was a ring rat. It's never been confirmed or denied.
That could be a title of a book. My Mom, the Ring Rat. I love it. You could write a book, Dustin.
It's never been confirmed or denied, but there's a good chance that a certain wrestler who killed himself a few years ago may or may not have been my father. So, I mean,
I'm trying to think now.
He is one half of the Fantastics. He was living in Hawaii. He decided to kill himself on, I believe it was July 1st, 2015 or 16. But either way, I was always told, "Oh, he's not your dad." And then sometimes I'd hear my mom and dad talking about it. Like, he would come on, my dad would go, "Oh, there's your dad." Like, when him and Bobby Fulton came out on Raw, my dad goes, "Oh, look, your dad's on Raw." And it's never been confirmed or denied, but my mom was solely messing with him when she got pregnant. So, but I obviously never met the guy. I never had a chance to say, "Hey, Dad, how you been?" It's never been one of those situations, but it just, my stepdad, who like I said, like, he was there and like he introduced me to the sport. And my first memory is of wrestling. My first cognitive memory is of the 1991 Halloween Havoc Thunder Cage. One of the worst matches in history. It's the first match I ever remember seeing, and that's the first match that made me fall in love with wrestling. Second match that made me fall in love with wrestling? Huh?
Hold on. We all have to give our first match first before you give your second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth match. So my first match that I remember that I loved when I was a kid was Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan when he wins the belt from Hogan, and he tombstones him on the chair, and Ric Flair helps him out. Yeah. That was actually after. I think it was after Ric Flair entered number 2, wasn't it? Oh no, it was before.
I was such
he entered number 3.
I was so shocked. I was so shocked when Taker went over.
That was an inside joke, folks. but what's your? I was shocked also. But what was your? Yeah, because Hulk Hogan was like a god then. You know what I mean?
I mean, I totally. When I was a kid, I don't think I cried, but I certainly had that kind of awkward feeling of. Because you just wanted Hogan to win. That was like crack to a kid, wasn't it? It was just like seeing Hulk Hogan win and him hulking up. It was just like, I'm so fucking high now because Hogan won. And this is proven recently. My 4-year-old son, he's got many different things he likes. Likes Power Rangers, Paw Patrol, Ghostbusters. Loves them all. But one of his new favorite things is he'll go to me, Daddy. Can we watch Hogan win? Can we watch Hogan Wins? Now that is his name for just any. He likes, the WWE Network. You can skip to the ending where Hogan wins, and my son enjoys that bit. He wants the Hogan. He likes the entrance with the music, and he likes the Hogan winning bit. So he wants to see the few minutes leading up to the victory with the leg drop, and. So I thought, okay, well, doing Hogan wins. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll show him a classic. Let's watch WrestleMania 6. Now, remember, Hogan doesn't win.
Right.
Warrior goes over. But we watched it, and we watched the whole match this time. And
it's actually one of the better Hulk Hogan matches.
It's a great Hulk Hogan match. It's fantastic. Really very well put together match, actually, for those two. And at the end, obviously, Warrior wins. Now, my son is watching this. And he turns around to me and he goes, Daddy? And I go, yeah. And he goes, did Hulk Hogan win? And I went, no, not this time. Oh, but Warrior did, right? I didn't realise how badly he'd take it. He burst into tears straight away.
No.
And I was like, oh, it's okay. We'll watch WrestleMania 5. Do you know what I mean?
Well, you know what? Don't ever have him watch Hulk Hogan versus The Rock either.
Yeah, geez. The thing is, though, it's hard now that I'm going back through it. I'm trying to find all these great matches where Hogan wins, especially in the WWF, because he wants the music, he wants the real American music. So, and I'm like, okay, what are his greatest moments? So I was doing stuff with when he was having matches with Earthquake and stuff. Sergeant Slaughter. But my son, he just thinks it's great.
2 Rumbles that he won.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
And then show him the Royal Rumble in '90. Show him the Royal Rumble in '92 where Ric Flair enters at number 2 and wins the Royal Rumble.
That's
gonna be number 3. Damn it!
What I love to see though is that the formula works all these years later. The whole formula works.
Me and Mitch were sitting there for like an hour talking about the Royal Rumble in '92, and Mitch goes, no, he entered in 2002. Or he entered at number 2. I go, no, he entered at number 3. No, it's number 2. I've seen that match so many times. The answer's at number 2. I said, play it. He puts it on. DiBiase and somebody else started, and then all of a sudden, Flair comes out at 3. I could have swore he came out at 2.
So Shawn Michaels, isn't it?
Shawn Michaels was the one that came out at number 2, yeah, and won. But
Shawn Michaels came out at number 1 and won.
Right, but who didn't he also come out the first time when the first time he won? Didn't he come out as number 2 and win?
He came out at number 1 and won, and then he came out. I think it was 19 or 20. Maybe I could be wrong about that because I haven't seen that one.
Who was the person that came out at number 2 and won the Royal Rumble?
Vince McMahon and Rey Mysterio.
Okay, so my argument, the whole reason that even started, was because my argument was if you come out at number 1 or number 2, you're still number 1, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, no, the argument started because we were sitting there watching it, and they're like, oh, Rey Mysterio is the only person to ever win from number 2. And I was like, that's not true. What about Vince? Vince did it too, remember? And you're like, oh, well, Flair did it too.
Did I sound like that when I said it?
Exactly like that. You were crying. Real tears.
But as I was saying, my fat friend, was
sorry, Mitch.
No, what I'm saying was that my
carry on.
My debate was that if you enter at number 2 or number 1, it should still count as number 1 because you're starting the match at the same exact time. You know what I'm saying? regardless if you came to the ring as number 1 or number 2, you're still starting the match. The bell rings and you're both starting at the same time. It was what my argument was at that point. So
it's splitting hairs, isn't it? Like
right.
1 and 2, but you're both actually in the ring at the same time, starting the match.
Right.
Yeah. So.
You know, it'd be an interesting concept if they started the match where 2 people wrestled for the number 1 spot, and the person that loses has to go to the back, and the first one is entered at number 1, and then number 2 comes out right after.
Right.
Like you're not even. It's like a wrestling match, so you have to pin or submit, and then the match starts after you win. That would make number 2 a little bit more better than number 1, but
right.
It would be good if they had some gimmicks like that, gimmick matches to kind of do something different to kind of raise
bring the King of the Ring back,
raise the stakes. You know,
the old King of the Ring where you had to fight older matches in one night.
Or what they could do is they could put on something in Saudi Arabia called the Greatest Royal Rumble of all time.
The Great Royal Rumble.
You mean the match that Jinder's already won, even though he hasn't even entered?
Yeah, it's got to be, isn't it?
Oh, I thought the Great Khali was going to be in that match and win.
I think the Iron Sheik.
It's going to come down to the Great Khali. It's going to come down to the Great Khali and Jinder Mahal at the end.
The Iron Sheik's going to. I will come and clutch all of them and make them humble. Break their back.
America, Apu, Canada, Apu, Iran, number 1.
Awesome.
I am the real world champion. The champion.
Yo, jabroni.
It'll come down to Jinder Mahal and the Great Khali at the end, and they'll be yelling at one another. And it'll be like you have. Are we gonna
go back in gimmicks to where Jinder married Khali's sister?
Oh,
I'm gonna do things to your sister that you're never gonna remember. Oh, you're not gonna hear about it at Easter. Oh, at Ramadan you're gonna get real mad.
Jinder Mahal's gonna be like, I am the modern day Maharaja. I am the greatest.
They should just send out every Indian gimmick that they've ever had.
That's what I'm saying. They should go get Muhammad Hassan back.
Get Muhammad Hassan, please. Yes.
Hassan,
I need to hear that music one more time.
Who's the guy that they had? They need to get Fatu back as the Sultan.
Sultan.
They
yes.
They all had the same music though. It was like this.
That was great music.
It was like very.
What about Tiger Ali Singh?
Tiger Ali Singh.
He had that music.
But then you got to bring back D'Lo and Chaz with him. Remember?
And Davari. Get Davari too.
They had turbans on, didn't they? They look like someone out of Aladdin.
Yep.
Yeah,
they did
Babu.
look like they look like
guy's
the
name Babu.
Oh, that was.
He actually trained me when I went to wrestling school. That guy Babu. That was Babu. He was like the manager of Tiger Ali Singh.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Fame.
Yeah. That yeah, so they'll come in the ring and Jinder Mahal will be like, I'm the modern day Maharaja. And then Khali will be like,
No,
and then you'll have the other guy, the Great Khali says. It'll be great.
I met him at a restaurant. That was hilarious. I was coming out of the SummerSlam panel, and he was just sitting at a restaurant. I was like, "Oh, hey, Ranjit Singh," just waved because if I see somebody out, I don't even need to go up and shake their hand or anything. I just want to say, "Hey," you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be all up in that. I'd be like, "Can I get a picture with you real quick?" I like to disturb people when they're eating and trying to get laid and things like that. So I would just be obnoxious and go right up to the table, and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna take a picture, okay?" Actually, that's the first time I ever met Zack Ryder. I did that to him.
I'm just if I meet any celebrity like that and I'm drawn to trying to get an autograph or something, I'm really incredibly polite. I'll be like, "Excuse me, sir.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry to trouble you. I'm a massive fan. It would be such an honor if you would bestow upon me." I just like to say that way. They're just like, fuck off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You walk up to a girl and go, "Milady." That's so creepy.
Milady.
Hello, milady.
Milady. No.
Hello, milady. Hello, my darling.
No, I just no. I haven't met very many WWE superstars, either current or past. I think the only one that really comes to mind is Billy Gunn. I met him. He was doing an indie show nearby.
Oh, yeah, remember you told me that, and you said his hand he crushed your hand.
Dude was so fucking strong. He was like I've never met someone so strong in my life. I've never shaken the hand of someone so muscly.
That's what steroids do to you.
It was ridiculous. It was like most people, even if there is, everyone does that thing. I hate it when handshakes go wrong. I like it when you meet someone, you have a handshake, you both apply the right amount of pressure. There's just like one quick shake. You look at each other in the eye, you nod, and it's like, but it's not too much eye contact. You're not trying to steal each other's souls. You're just trying to go, look, we're on the same page here. Nice to meet you. But I hate it when someone squeezes your hand and you squeeze, they squeeze, then they squeeze too hard. You then release pressure and they end up like crushing your hand a little bit, or they gripped your fingers too early and they haven't gone in for the arm.
Were you there with your wife?
But no, I was there with my mate Tom. But fucking Billy Gunn.
I thought he might have wanted your wife to know that he's an ass man.
I don't know. He might have wanted Tom to know he was an ass man. I don't know. Thing is though, I mean, I'm not a small chap. Do you know what I mean? I'm 6'2", 3". I'm heavier now than I was then. But usually, with most people, I can hold my own. I can squeeze their hand, whether they're a big strong dude, a rugby player or something. I can get a good squeeze and hold my own. I was like, well, I'm a real man. I'm not a wimp. Look,
I believe you now. I believe you.
Yeah, they go, wow, you're a man of substance, and we shake hands, and usually I can get a bit of movement on their arm. You know what I mean? You both shake hands, and your arms move. So meet Billy Gunn, and he was very polite, super polite. I was like, hi Billy, it's really nice to meet you. And he was like, it's really nice to meet you. He was really nice, right? We shook hands. I tried to shake his hand, tried to shake his arm. It wouldn't fucking move. It didn't move at all. There was no fucking move. My attempt to shake his hand, I moved myself. I then was moving up and down. It was incredible. And he was just rigid, so fucking muscly and strong. I was like, this, put it in perspective how strong WWE superstar, and the steroids. I mean, dude was jacked. His neck was just like the size of my waist. Incredible.
Well, he did have neck surgery, so I could see why he'd want that to be strong.
Yeah, dude was just fucking built. He made all the indie wrestlers look like such fucking boys. Do you know what I mean? They were just like beer gut fucking guys with just skinny, like just normal blokes. That's what I'd say. They were normal blokes in spandex, and then Billy Gunn comes out, and he's like this fucking unit of a man who just fucking toying with him. It's brilliant.
Who did he wrestle? Did he wrestle anybody of substance? Or?
Back then there was a guy on the indie scene in the UK, and funnily enough, he was called the UK Kid, and he was, and that was it. And he came out to you're the best around.
Nothing's ever gonna bring me down.
Yeah, he came out to that, and can't remember what Billy Gunn came out to. No, I don't remember.
I'm an ass man.
But it was
boop.
It was very.
I'm an ass man.
Probably. It was a good night though. I bought one of those bloody sponge fingers, like the pointy, traditional wrestling. It was just like a generic sponge finger. There's a picture of me with Billy Gunn, having my photo taken with him, pointing at him with the sponge finger, as you do when you have that opportunity.
Yeah. Man.
But what happened on Raw? We've completely dismissed.
I don't know. We've
This is a special episode where we've disregarded Raw because we're just waiting for
it's WrestleMania, baby. We got to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
We've already gone 40 minutes and we haven't talked about Raw at once yet.
This is the longest intro we've ever done.
I love it. With all the time we wasted on that, we could spend time talk about the only two things that really mattered about Raw. Braun Strowman as Brain Strowman, and John Cena's promo.
Yeah.
I liked the beginning also. I thought it was good with Ronda Rousey. All right, so Raw opens up, and we see the coach in the ring, and then they invite Team McMahon and Team Rousey to come to the ring. So, it was a cool segment. I know I keep saying that. Dustin, I know we have you have some comments to make about this segment, so I'm going to let you take the floor with this.
Okay, so it was supposed to be a question and answer segment when we got 2 questions and like half an answer. Uh, I was really disappointed with the way that the table spot for one, but I mean it just looks so slow motion. Like, oh, let's see it again in slow motion. I'm like, just play it at regular speed. It was slow motion. So, I mean, you've also got the fact of what Ronda said. What Ronda said was probably one of the greatest lines that has ever been said in a wrestling ring, especially towards an enemy, especially from a face even. But she goes, she asked Stephanie, what are you left-handed or right-handed? And she goes, I'm right-handed. She goes, good. I just want to know so you can still write my checks when I rip it off. And
That was a great
that's
line.
probably one of the greatest lines ever uttered by a face. And coming from Ronda, don't get me wrong, it was probably written for her, but it still, the delivery was actually on point. Whereas, some of her other stuff, her timing was terrible. Like when she announced who she wanted to wrestle at WrestleMania, like it's like I know who I want to face, and there was a drum roll, and she just jumped out as soon as the drum roll started. You like, oh, okay, like you were supposed to wait till after the drum roll, let the drum roll go for at least 2 seconds. Like, I just hope that it's not like they don't give them more than 10 minutes. And if they do, make it mostly Hunter and Angle. So
Yeah, it's got to be one of those matches that's a bit like. Do you remember when Bret Hart faced Vince McMahon finally at WrestleMania, where it was kind of phoned in. It was just like just going through the motions. I think it's going to be that kind of match. But on Raw, Rousey was. She didn't. I don't think she sold the table bump. I thought the table bump was. I mean, I'm just being a typical wrestling fan, but not just nitpicking. It was fine as an opening segment. I'm looking forward to what they're doing. I didn't think she still needs to work on her acting and her selling a little bit. She got put through the table. Don't think she looked like it really hurt her. She
was looking up at her like you're supposed to act like you're passed out. She looked up at her like, "Ooh, I'm going to get you."
Yeah, she did.
The low speed impact on this table,
Yeah, you better be like you say, like holding. You better be holding your midsection, and then have your eyes closed and just be like rolling around, and but they're shouting at you while you're in pain. Not like, and it was the look she was giving her was kind of it was an unusual. It didn't like back in the day. If you think about when someone got put through a table, it was actually a surprise. So, man, you remember when Kevin Nash put Eric Bischoff through the table on Nitro? That was epic. That was like, holy shit, what's happened here? This is gonna make the fucking headlines. You know what I mean? That was all just a bit like, oh, they just kind of picked her up and she looked like she'd been slammed onto a mattress. That was how painful that table bump looked. It looked like she'd been gone on a mattress.
Weak the way they did it. Yeah. So
she didn't look like she's really injured. And my God, what's going to happen? Is Rousey going to be in good condition to compete at WrestleMania? And wow, I really can't wait to see her get even. It was a bit like, forgettable. But her makeup looked better this week.
Yeah, she didn't look like a raccoon, right?
That's true. She had red eye. She had someone farting in her prior. She had red eye from poo particles.
No, I mean, her husband is known for beating his wife, so she might have had to cover something up.
I see.
Oh no.
But the stuff they got, I guess it'd be good for the highlight reel. All of the staring at each other. Grumpily
pointing at the sign,
makes good highlight clips, all of that stuff, and just looking forward to seeing how this pays off. I mean, could we get? It's got to be a straightforward payoff, isn't it? It's got to be Angle and Rousey victorious at WrestleMania. I don't expect a heel turn from Rousey where she's actually some kind of corporate champion or something. That would be. That'd be an interesting twist, but I doubt we'll get that out of this. I think they want everybody to be happy and they're setting her up to be a merchandise seller and a kind of a real star of the WWE product, and so they want to maintain that as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good match, and you know, the segment was pretty good, and it it is what it is, and it the where she got thrown through the table was a little weak, but but otherwise it was pretty good. So, but then we had Bayley versus Sonya Deville. And actually, it was weird because I thought Sonya Deville was going to win the match, and then Bayley actually won, and then at the end, Sasha came in to make the save as Absolution was beating her. What are we gonna? What is the match at WrestleMania? Is Bayley versus Sasha Banks, right?
No, Women's Battle Royal.
Oh, so
really?
There's no women's. Why am I drawing a blank? The women's title. There's no. What's the Raw women's title match?
Alexa versus Nia.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So they're obviously not going to be in the Battle Royal.
I feel like the Battle Royal is kind of overdoing it, and they're saying it's the first women's Battle Royal at WrestleMania. No, it's not. The last one was won by a man.
Santino.
I mean, Santina, yeah.
Yeah.
For the Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
I remember that.
And then let's not even talk about the trophy. Jesus Christ, it looks like the reproductive system. Seriously, if you look at it, it looks like the female reproductive system. With the big thing, the big sides and everything. Yeah. It looks terrible. And I mean, there's so many great women from WWE's history that they could have made it Chyna's Battle Royal, they could have made it Wendy Richter's Battle Royal, they could have made it, any number of people's Battle Royal.
Mae Young,
Mae Young. I was expecting Mae Young if it wasn't.
Well, they did
Moolah,
the tournament for her, so that's kind of different. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of out of the. It's kind of out of the question because she's already got the Battle Royal. You know what I mean? I mean, she's already got
I see the trophy now. It actually looks like a pair of panties, doesn't it? Like stretched out, like if you stretch.
I have a photo. I have a photo on my phone where it looks like it's an exact replica of the female reproductive system.
It does.
I don't want to call it the wrong thing, but yeah,
It does. It looks like the uterus with the ovaries.
Yeah,
I see it.
Yeah. It most certainly does. And so they're not doing much for the women by doing that, in my opinion. But I could be wrong. But I kind of feel like it's overdone.
Yeah, it would be more outrage if they made it look like a phallus, though, wouldn't they? If it was
well, no, I mean, like, I think that I'm talking about the Battle Royal altogether.
Did you see that picture
I
when you
think that it's
Googled it?
overdone because who are they going to have come back for the Battle Royal that wasn't already in the Royal Rumble?
Royal Rumble. It's kind of like it's too close together. Like they had the first women's Royal Rumble. Now they're having supposedly the first women's Battle Royal. Well, I guess they're calling it, but wasn't that a Divas Battle Royal? So that's why they call it.
Well, true, but it still was all women except for Santina.
Except for Santina, it was Santina.
And no, it wasn't the Divas Battle Royal. It was a Miss WrestleMania Battle Royal.
Yeah, but even still, you're right. It was still a women's Battle Royal. So,
and
as much as I hate to agree with you, I have to agree with you. So,
I mean, the Battle Royal is great and everything, and the idea behind it, I get it and I like it. But you can't go out there and have a quote-unquote women's Battle Royal when you blew your entire load on WrestleMania. I mean, on Royal Rumble.
They're probably going to do a Hogan Sid for Bayley and Sasha in this Battle Royal. I'd imagine.
Oh yeah, like she grabs her by the hand at the end.
Yeah, that would be the only way to have this, because you don't want either of them really going over in the Battle Royal. What you want to do is have the Battle Royal just be used as a way of just continuing their feud to past WrestleMania, so we get the payoff of just a match between the two that's competitive and maybe a gimmick, I don't know, but yeah. So and the only way to really do that would be to have one of them cost the other one. If I can't win it, you can't, that kind of thing, and then just carry on that way.
I 100% expect it to be somebody from NXT though to win the Battle Royal. Because it's either going to be somebody from NXT or somebody they haven't announced it's signed.
Yeah.
Because you got to think of everybody that's, we're due for new people to be coming up after Mania. And I'd almost bet that the Iconic Duo is coming up. And I'm pretty sure Ember's coming up. But Ember was in the Royal Rumble, so it's kind of like, do you shoot yourself in the foot, or do you shock people with letting either Peyton Royce, who would probably be the most likely option, or
maybe Shayna Baszler,
maybe Candice LeRae, because Gargano's getting ready to come up too.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got all this talent down there that it's got to be someone from NXT. It can't be a main roster female, because everyone's locked up in something. Like, it's kind of useless to give it to Becky.
That was the first person to come to mind, actually, just before you said that was Becky. I was thinking, because she kind of goes over with the crowd, when she gets kind of in a Zack Ryder-like way. When Zack Ryder won the Intercontinental Championship a few years back, that was a surprise. Becky, I think, would probably get a similar kind of reaction in that she's, when she's given a platform, she generally gets a good pop and everything like that. She's that established star that could do that. But yeah, I think like you say, the best use of it would be that it could be an accolade given to somebody who they see as being
it almost certainly has to
important.
be a heel, like how Jericho was the first undisputed champion, or how Cesaro won the first battle royal. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotta almost definitely be a heel and somebody who can run with the gimmick. I mean, you might even be able to pull a few legends out of retirement to come and face the person that wins, to make them, be like, oh, I won the first women's battle royal, and then somebody comes back and goes, well, that's because I wasn't in it. You know what I mean? And, oh, you're not better than I was, and then you can put that person completely over. Because the honest truth is, they're going to have to build somebody to beat Asuka. They're going to have to, because they built Asuka to be so heavy that they've put themselves in a spot where, are they going to let Asuka run with the belt for 6 years? She going to hold the belt longer than Moolah? Somebody's going to have to beat her eventually. In my opinion, I say they say fuck all, and they let Carmella cash in the middle of the match and pin Charlotte, Seth Rollins style. So that way, Asuka doesn't lose. Technically, Charlotte didn't lose either, and you've still got a strong match moving forward. And can you imagine all the heel heat that Carmella will get for that?
Yeah, I mean, they've been sewing Carmella in on SmackDown. They were sewing her in. She was attempting, wasn't she, to try and cash in again. She's done it multiple times. It would be that. I do like a WrestleMania surprise. Like when Seth Rollins cashed in. That made me jump off my chair when he cashed in at WrestleMania.
I was there live.
That was a big moment.
That was one of my favorite WrestleMania moments. It's very rarely, like in modern times, have I been sat down and then that music hit. I actually leapt off of the sofa, and then like what Randy Orton does, or he used to do before he did the RKO, where he kind of jumps onto the mat and hit both hands, jumps onto your front, and you hit both hands onto the floor, and then kind of like get ready for the RKO. I was kind of doing like that. But for Seth Rollins, when I marked out completely, I was like, my wife ran into the room like, "What's going on? What's going on?" And I was just like, "He's fucking cashing in." Nobody understood. Everyone thought I'd gone crazy. They started calling the doctor.
Howie?
Yeah.
I was in the building that night.
What did you do? Did you shit your pants? Did you shit yourself? I can
tell you that I've never ever felt a open air building shake like that. The ground was shaking. Everybody was losing their shit. I mean, it was mass hysteria. Like literally, like he hit that, like they were both down, and then everybody, like, I mean, it was like adulation, and like everybody was sitting there. Everybody was hugging. Like it was a crazy sight that everybody was like, the person next to you had your arm around him. He's doing it. He's doing it. And it's like, it was such an amazing moment to be a part of, because the match was so lackluster. Like, Lesnar has become such a shell of who he used to be. Lesnar used to be a great wrestler. Now all he does is suplexes and F5s.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's it. That's all he is now. And he's lost who he used to be. And that's because WWE allowed him to not be who he used to be.
Yeah, every match he's had
100%.
has been... Every match he's had in recent history has just been the same blueprint over and over. I mean, if you go back to when he first kind of returned and he had that program with John Cena, they had that match at SummerSlam. That was good. That was a bit of a slobber knocker. He did that bit where he jumped over the top rope.
That was that Backlash. The match at SummerSlam was a suplex fest.
That was Cena. The one. Oh, which one am I thinking of? Yeah, the Backlash one. That one was pretty rough. It was pretty. I remember that being.
And then as soon as
Cena, it was a slobber knocker.
And then as soon as the match with Cena happened, all he was suplexes after that.
Yep.
His match with Triple H was good. All three of them were good. And then his match with Punk was terrible. His match with and that match with Punk should not have been terrible. I am not a CM Punk fan. What he did is what he did, but I am not a CM Punk fan. And I feel like Punk did everything he could to make Brock Lesnar look credible. And Lesnar didn't do a damn thing for Punk in the end.
True.
And they're friends. You know? And Lesnar did what Lesnar wants to do. Lesnar is he's a big baby. He always has and he always will be. Lesnar has a huge ego. You tell Lesnar he's doing something wrong, Lesnar's gonna go out of his way to find a way to cry about it. Oh, well, I'm the biggest thing. You're not. He's not an attraction anymore. Lesnar is a shell of who he used to be. And I'm okay with getting my ass knocked out. I will tell him to his face if I have to. You know what I mean? I am more than willing to get my ass beat just to tell him how I feel. You know? But he's a shell of who he used to be. He's not a good wrestler anymore. I mean, you look at Angle, who hadn't wrestled in like 9 months whenever he came back to be general manager. He wrestled at SummerSlam. I mean, he wrestled at TLC, and that wasn't the best. But then when he wrestled at Survivor Series, you were seeing old Kurt Angle. It wasn't a suplex, an ankle lock, and a Olympic Slam. He went out there and he wrestled. You know, I believe in one of the matches he even did a fucking moonsault.
He did. He used to have to prove himself. Now he doesn't have to prove himself. Now he just has to fucking turn up, and even that's a fucking problem.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The thing with Lesnar is Lesnar doesn't love the business. Lesnar loves the money, and that's where you get your disconnect in, you know, your superstars and the people that want to be there.
Oh, it's a cushy role, isn't it? Because he hasn't got to be traveling. He hasn't got to be not all the time. He hasn't got to grind. He's got a private jet. He hasn't got to get beat up. He hasn't got to have the pressure of what happens in the UFC with the stress and the strict lifestyle that comes with being a competing UFC fighter, where you have to, watch everything you're eating, training, all this actual grind, and the mental pressure as well, how that affects your relationships with people, because you can't be with people all the time because you're training, you'll have to commit 100% mentally to the fight. And then, but with this, it's kind of like, I turn up and it's payday, it's just like, bang, do the same shit, get paid the same money, bang, it's just like...
That's literally, his shirt literally should be, show up, suplex, get paid, leave. That's literally his shirt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the thing is, he goes out and he, they may have him work a house show or two, or he may come out, but Lesnar walks to that ring, does a 30-second to 5-minute match, leaves, and comes back with, he leaves, and then he gets on his private jet, goes home, and gets to spend the night with his family. The other wrestlers don't get that. And I understand where Roman Reigns is coming from, but this whole, he's Vince's boy, this is a pot called kettle situation, where they're trying to play Roman Reigns up as somebody that isn't. Roman Reigns is more Vince's boy than Brock Lesnar is. That's why Lesnar was built to be defeated by Roman. This whole plan for Roman to get over has been set since WrestleMania in 2000, since Lesnar ended the streak. It was all a ploy to build Roman Reigns, and it comes to fruition this Sunday.
Yeah.
Lesnar will be defeated by Roman Reigns in, I wouldn't even say dominating. I might even say dominating fashion. It's going to be Lesnar's swan song, and Roman's got to get over, and everything they're doing is just, it is what it is, and it's terrible. It's terrible to see Lesnar, become a shell of himself, but he's become content. He's not on that grind. He's not the competitor where he would go out there and he loved the business. Lesnar's never loved the business. Same thing with The Rock. I don't think The Rock's ever even loved the business, but that's a whole nother topic. But I think at the end of the day, the best thing for us is for Lesnar to go right off into the sunset and never be seen again.
Could happen. It could happen. But things need to move on, don't they? How the hell did we get onto bloody Big Dog and fucking Suplex City? We were at Banks and Bailey, and the flipping. We did well. We talked about Seth Rollins, didn't we? Because the pop at WrestleMania. Speaking of which, I think the next section on Raw, was Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins. Speaking of the architect,
absolutely, and this was an amazing match. I mean, I can't. I actually had my eyes for once were glued to the television. Like I don't know. It was magic. It was magic. It was so much chemistry that I don't even know what
They are two of the foremost sports entertainers in the WWE at this current time.
Can I go back to the Lesnar thing one more time real quick?
Hit it.
The last decent match that Lesnar had was against Seth Rollins and John Cena at Royal Rumble 2015. That was the last decent match that Lesnar's had. And it wasn't because Lesnar was in the match.
Yeah.
That
Rollins
goes to tell you what kind of
work magic together.
And that's the thing, like, Seth Rollins is a constant entertainer. Seth Rollins was never supposed to be Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins was always supposed to be the third in line when it came to the Shield. It was supposed to be Dean Ambrose, Roman, then Seth. Right before the Shield broke up, Seth Rollins started showing his ass at who he could be as a wrestler. And when that happened, people started to notice. Like, whenever he started doing, like, whenever they were feuding with the Wyatt family is when Seth really broke out. When he started doing the dives, where he'd run to one side of the ring, dive out that side, dive out the other side, dive out the other side, and land on his feet all 3 times and just keep doing it for, like, 3 minutes, you know? Keep diving on these people. And, like, consistently landing on his feet and then just diving back in and doing it again. And, you know, Seth really earned what Seth got. I mean, I'm scared for Daniel Bryan to ever get in the ring with him, but I mean,
please be careful with him. We've only just got him back.
But I mean, Seth Rollins has really earned everything that he's got, because he's gone out there and he's become a superstar that they can rely on, that they know that no matter what they put him in, he's going to be excellent at.
Yeah, they can rely on him.
Jason Jordan.
They can rely on him on the proviso that he doesn't knee someone's nose into their skull.
Oh my god!
Or whiplash someone against
the worst accidental injuries I've ever seen was that when he kneed John Cena's face. Oh man!
I think that goes to Joey Mercury or Sid.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible. But that was a nasty one, though. The knee.
But you know what? It's the man's face. I mean, it's one thing if you. I guess the Joey Mercury was a face too. That was pretty. He looked like Leatherface when he was done with that. His eyes were like shutting.
He looked like Sloth. He wanted a Baby Ruth.
That was pretty bad. Baby Ruth.
Baby Ruth.
But yeah, this match was amazing, and Seth Rollins won. And it was in good fashion too. Like, he just kind of nailed him with the stomp, as they call it now. And that was the end of the match. So, and then we had another. I guess it was pretty funny when he came out. Braun Strowman came out as his alter ego, Bubba Dudley Strowman. And he had the glasses on with the shirt. You know, it was funny. I mean.
Yeah, bit of comic relief in there.
We got to get predictions for the partners.
Well, I think you and I have the same prediction, but you can go ahead and say.
I'm torn between Big Cass and Drew McIntyre. Because McIntyre and Strowman kind of have the same look, so it would kind of make sense for them just to make them a tag team, for fuck's sake.
They've been teasing this week that it might be Bray Wyatt because of a post that Braun did on Instagram.
It's not going to be Bray. Bray is taking some time off to figure out his family situation. It won't be Bray. If anything, it'll be a new revamped Bray, but I don't think Bray's coming back anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny one because Braun Strowman, there's not really any logical. You know, the logical pick for Braun Strowman is nobody. You know, because he he hasn't got that character where it's like he's got allies. I can't think of anyone where I go, unless other than Bray Wyatt, where you think, okay, there's a history there that he brought.
Well, I mean, you've also got to think that are they going to really let every member of the Wyatt family walk out of Mania with tag title? Got to think about that.
What if Braun Strowman? What if Braun Strowman doesn't win? I think everyone's just going on the idea that Braun Strowman's going to win. But don't you demolish your tag team division if a tag team can't beat that guy? Maybe the idea is that somebody comes out who we all think is going to be Braun's partner, like the Big Show, something like that. We all go, whoa! But actually, the Big Show comes in and fucking chokeslams Braun Strowman, and the bar go over, and that way they retain some fucking face.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think putting Braun, Braun and his partner could not work together, and this could be a way to, it could be Samoa Joe who's missing Mania again.
Yeah.
It could be a whole number of people. It could be Killian Dane. It could be somebody from NXT. It could be, it could be anybody. But I'm pretty set on it being Cass because Cass has been saying he's ready, and you know what I mean. Like, It would make sense since they're trying to, phase Big Show and Kane out to start setting up the new two big guys that are the two next Hoss battle, if you will.
The Skyscrapers 2. I have to get those waistcoats and cowboy chaps ready.
I would like Skyscrapers 2. I wouldn't have a problem with that as long as Teddy Long was there. But I think we'll get Skyscrapers 2 before we ever get a Ghostbusters 3.
You never know. So what came next in Raw? Where were we up to? Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman takes on the Bar. That was funny. Goldust, Matt Hardy.
I expected more from this match.
I did too.
I mean, I get that. I mean, they're both old, and they're both, veterans. So either one of them theoretically could have won. It's not like Goldust or Matt Hardy is putting over younger talent. So, but in the same sense, they're both in really good shape, and I think they're both in Goldust. It's crazy how he looks. He's in the best shape of his life. But they're both kind of peaking right now, and I don't know. I obviously Matt's gonna win because they're pushing him right now, and it feels like Goldust is like a glorified enhancement talent, but I think they both have a lot of gas left in the tank, and I think first of all, I think Goldust should win the Intercontinental title one more time. I think for sure, and I think Mandy Rose should be like his valet or partner or something because they look amazing.
They had some good chemistry on Mixed Match.
Yeah, she's the golden girl.
And she even looks great. I've said it, time and time again. Like she even had outfits that matched his and stuff, and they look great.
I don't know. She's just not my type. Said no one ever. It's funny because this.
It'd be bad if I met her. If I met her, it'd be real bad because you know what? I'd ruin her career. I would get her pregnant so fast.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, the good thing is if you ever meet Paige, she's going to put it in her ass so you won't get her pregnant.
Oh, Jesus.
And that's getting cut from the podcast.
No, she's not going to put her
I
think she insists on using a championship belt.
My God. Anytime that Dustin speaks on the podcast, when you hear it back, it's gonna be all it's just gonna be silence, and it's gonna be like we're talking to ourselves, but his voice is just not gonna be there. It's gonna be so funny. I love it.
Well, I was gonna say something important then. What was it? It was after this Ultimate Deletion match that they had the other week, they haven't really done anything because Bray's obviously gone away and he's in the Twilight Zone or something, and so they're just kind of floating about.
A reincarnation.
Yeah, and so they just kind of put Matt Hardy against Goldust because it's like, oh, Goldust is weird and Matt Hardy's weird as well. So we'll just have a weird match that won't last very long, and just throw them in there with no build-up, no nothing. But they didn't need it, did they? Really, it was just a filler. It was a
Well, I mean, it's for the Battle Royal. It's to get over the men's Battle Royal.
That's it. There's a lot of that at the moment. They're just trying to get a bloody. Yeah, that's. So John Cena. He issued a final challenge to the Undertaker.
Yeah, and it was met with silence, just like all the other ones. It was like I was really hoping for something like. I was really hoping for something like a little something, just I don't know what they, and I was thinking in my head, which is I'm assuming this is the problem that they had as well, but like I feel like there wasn't much they could have done, you know what I mean? So, they did what I guess, I don't know, especially if he's going to be the American Badass, what could they have done? Like if the lights went out and you heard a gong
they should have done
flickered,
they should have done what they would have done in 1994. They would have started a chant going, "Rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace, rest in peace." They would have gone, "Come on, everyone, louder so that the Undertaker can hear you. Rest in peace, rest in." Sorry, I hit the microphone then. I was so excited. I was actually chanting and moving my hands. Because you remember, they used to do things like that. USA! And they would do, "Let's go, Brett! Let's go, Brett!" And they would have done an Undertaker chant. Now, no, we can't do that anymore. The only thing we can do is let John Cena go out week after week. This has been the lamest build-up to anything. The fact that the Undertaker is just like the fact he hasn't even turned up or done anything in this program to hype this match, other than the idea that he's hyping it through doing nothing, and that we might get the payoff by him turning up. That's not selling a match. That's the
whole thing. Is they said they don't need to sell the match. It's a big enough match; it'll sell itself. Just with the idea of it happening, because they built this pretty well. They've given it. They said it's going to happen for 4 years, and they never did it. And now it's to the point where we want to see John Cena wrestle Undertaker.
I reckon what they should do to make this better is while John Cena's in the ring, right? Sting should walks into the ring, takes the microphone off John Cena, and he goes, looks at John Cena, looks at the camera, and he goes. He should say, "I'm here to issue a challenge to The Undertaker." And at that point, it goes, bong. And The Undertaker comes out and he goes, "I accept." And everyone goes, "Yeah." And it's like, yeah, completely snubbed John Cena's offer, accepts Sting's. That's what I would rather have seen, in all honesty.
That would be the greatest moment in wrestling history.
Surely a complete snub. He's like, "I just don't want a match with you, John Cena." But Sting, on the other hand, that's what the people want.
But another thing is, we do have that women's battle royal happening, and Undertaker just happens to be married to a woman that could possibly be in that battle royal.
Right.
What if John Cena comes out and starts talking shit to Michelle McCool, and that brings the Undertaker out? And it's not the dead man. It's not going to be the dead man. No matter what they do, there's no way it's the dead man.
Mean Mark with one leather glove, a waist jacket, and chaps.
There's no way it's the dead man. Dead man's done and gone. There's no way it's going to be the dead man. It has to be the badass.
It's got to be the man.
Kid Rock's there. He's in the building. Undertaker is named after, Kid Rock sings his namesake. It's been 14 years since the American Badass. 14 years. I mean, think about it. It's time. If he's going to wrestle, the dead man, the gimmick has to be done. But if he wants to still wrestle, it's time to bring the badass back. It's time for him to start having fun again. Because, you know what I mean? Like, the streak was kind of tied to the dead man. Now, the streak's gone. I mean, let's be honest. After the streak ended, WrestleMania just wasn't the same with Undertaker.
Yeah, it wasn't. I agree.
So, how do you spice it back up? You bring back the dead. You bring back the badass. It can't be the dead man. After the way they ended Mania last year, the way they did everything, there's no way it's the badass. Then again, it could be a swerve, and we could get Lashley and Cena at Mania. Because Lashley kind of owes Cena. That was his last match with the company before he left.
I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I can't wait to. This is. I mean, yeah. I guess you're right in that they built it up because at least I'm wondering what the hell's going to happen, and the next day I'm going to be trying to avoid social media so it doesn't spoil it for me before I get a chance to watch it. Because
so you're saying you want to text and email on what happened?
No, please don't. I'm just going to not look at my phone that day.
All right. So then we had Elias versus Heath Slater. I mean, this is basically another job match. Classic, you know who's gonna win match. I like Elias. It was a quick match. It was okay. It wasn't anything great. It wasn't anything shabby. We could just move on from this match, I think. Alexa Bliss and Mickie James versus Dana Brooke and Asuka. Good match. I enjoyed it. What do you guys think?
I like the bit where Asuka was pointing at the WrestleMania sign. That's not helpful, is it? Yeah, of course, it's a good match. Asuka, once again, looking awfully strong. Yeah, just because there's the whole thing with Alexa Bliss and Mickie James continuing to mock Nia Jax as well. Nia showing more emotion as well, so we can create that connection, and that does help with the programming. And I expect Jax to go over at WrestleMania, and we all know that. I mean, I don't know. Do you think Asuka's going to go over at WrestleMania against Charlotte? Are we going to get the full Asuka payoff, or is Charlotte going to further establish herself as one of the great female wrestlers of her time? I like surprises. I don't like everything to be necessarily writing on the wall. I like a surprise. Maybe this is an opportunity for that. What do you think? Do you think Asuka is worth continuing to invest in this way, or do they crush the dream?
No, they're going to continue with it. This is a way to I think the whole thing, if what I read was correct, that the thing with Asuka and Shinsuke winning the Royal Rumble is to let Japanese wrestlers know that they will not be treated poorly coming over. And if that's the message they're trying to send, there's no way they stop with Asuka. There's no way that Shinsuke doesn't walk out with the title. There's a lot of things that just can't happen if that's what they're trying to build.
Yeah. So you think they want more talent from Japan?
Oh, they do. They want Okada badly.
Really?
But Okada won't leave. They thought they were going to get Okada when they got Nakamura.
Wow.
It almost happened.
Jesus, that would have been crazy. I mean, what Tanahashi? They're going to get Tanahashi coming over? The Japanese John Cena?
When I first started watching Japanese wrestling, that's how my friend described them. John Cena is Tanahashi, and what's his name is
Orton.
Randy Orton. Okada's Randy Orton.
Okada's Randy Orton. They are basically the two big two. The two big two. Yeah, I mean they interesting. I'm a big fan of New Japan. Yeah, it certainly also gives a it certainly does give the right messages, because it's often been said that WWE has never truly cracked Japan the way they would want to because of obviously the popularity of the New Japan product in its domestic territory. So by having Shinsuke as a megastar, and now Asuka, like you say, it fires the right shots to attract the market. It's the Davey Boy Smith technique. You put over their homeboy and turn them into a superstar, and it helps you to gain a stronghold in that market, like they did with the UK in the early 90s. It certainly worked, because that's why I'm still watching wrestling now. God damn it. It's still real to me.
Well, I mean, what the another thing is they want to get more Japanese talent. I mean, you got to look at the Japanese talent they've had in the past. You've got, Kenzo Suzuki. A lot of people don't even remember him,
I remember.
Taka Michinoku, they made a whole division for him. You know? And then it got shat on because it was never what the cruiserweight, Taka could have been so much more successful if he'd have went to WCW first. But that's a whole nother podcast.
Oh yes.
I mean, it's just a lot of situations where these people are coming in and, they're not getting, they don't feel like they're going to get what they want. It's kind of like the RVD situation where people say that, Vince doesn't like people he didn't build himself.
That's true, though.
So, I mean, RVD definitely should have won the title at WrestleMania 19 or 18. Or not 18, at the, what was it? Unforgiven when he wrestled Triple H? Yeah. Same thing with Booker T. Booker T should have won the title at WrestleMania 18.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think around that time in one of the video games, I can't remember which one it was, one of the SmackDown games, they had RVD really in the one-player game that you do, the storyline mode. Like RVD was really prevalent. He was like the heel champion in the storyline kind of thing. And I remember at the time thinking, they've got it in the video game, but they never went completely nuclear with that whole RVD being the man. Although he kind
of shot himself in the foot with that whole. Yeah. They gave him the ECW title and the WWE title at the same time, and then what was it? That day or the day later, he got arrested.
It was a week. It was like 2.5 weeks later.
Yeah. So he blew.
I love listening. I love that shoot interview that he did. You find it on YouTube where he talks about his kind of relationship.
Who he was going to punch in the face.
That kind of cock or not or whatever they call it. But when one of the
Shawn Michaels,
he doesn't like Shawn Michaels, but he talks about his relationship with Vince, and he was talking about how if you want
him to go overseas,
if you want to do well, you've got to be on the right. You got to like kiss Vince's ass. You got to sort of like be like buddy up. Like people like.
Yeah. And then he said he never kissed Vince McMahon's ass.
in any workplace, there are people who are often, far less talented than others, but they're very, very good at kissing ass with the bosses and the directors, and they'll do really well. They'll have great careers, and I can't remember who he said told him, but someone was like, "Hey, Rob, you gotta probably Triple H. He's best for business." It's like, "Hey, Rob, you gotta go over and speak to Vince. He likes it, when you're one of the boys." And so he goes over there. But the thing is, it made me laugh a lot when I thought, because if RVD was stoned and he's going to go and talk to Vince, you're going to freak out a bit. You're going to get this kind of hierarchy problem where you're like, my God, I'm stood with the boss. He's going to start freaking out in his head because he's smoking, he's thinking too much, his heart's going to start racing. And Vince would just be like, "Hey, Rob," and he'll just be like, "Hey, Vince, I like your shoes." And Vince would just look at him like, "What the fuck is this going on?" Just a really awkward moment. And then Vince would just walk away shaking his head, and Rob probably would have been like, "Yeah, that probably didn't go so well." And I think maybe that is also what it is. You often think people say, "Oh, the reason Rob Van Dam didn't do well is because Triple H probably buried him." But maybe it was just one of those things. If you just can't get in there with the boss, and think about Kurt Angle, you can guarantee that he was like one of Vince's buddies. The career that he had, he was confident, very corporate kind of guy. I think coming in, he would have just very articulate, kind of opposite to what. And an opposite background. If there are like polar opposites in a way, you got this kind of indie guy, ECW hardcore thing, and then you got this polished wrestler, athletic pedigree. I in my mind, I can just see that dynamic just being very different, and maybe it was like you say, he shot himself in the foot.
Absolutely.
And his career didn't go that well. Actually, one of my favorite memories of that later push that he did get when they brought back the ECW and they did that one night stand thing, and Cena, jobbed to Rob Van Dam, won the spinner belt, and he had the ECW belt as well. I can always remember in his next kind of interview, it must have been on the ECW program or on Raw, I can't remember, all the people in the crowd, they're all going, he's holding the two belts, and he's looking at them both. And he's holding the WWE Championship, and you can hear people in the crowd going, "Throw it down! Throw it down!" And Rob Van Dam looks at them, and he goes, no way, man. This one spins. Right.
He goes, no, I remember that vividly because I that's why I got the spinner belt. He looks at it, he goes, they're like, throw it down. He goes, I think I'm going to keep this one. This one spins.
Yeah, it's a great line. I got the spinnabout. I managed to pick up the spinnabout years ago. It would cost like £300-400, and some jabroni, some jabroni. I make him humble. Some jabroni. He posted his spinnabout on eBay, and he didn't call it like a very descriptive title. It was like something like wrestling belt. Something just really rubbish to try and get over the point of what it is so you can get the right market of people on eBay looking at the thing you're trying to sell. And I got it for like 120 quid. This is years back when it was worth something because people were marking out for Cena and his spinnabout. Still got it to this very...
3 years ago, I got one on Craigslist for $100. Adult.
Yeah, they're really cheap. They became really cheap.
Well, you know,
they are now. They are now. You see them on eBay for people trying to sell them, and they're just not going anywhere.
Well, the problem was A, the market got flooded. That, and the B, another time these people are, people go to wrestling shows and they're like, oh, I got to get a belt because I'm here. And then after like maybe a couple weeks to a few months, you're like, why the hell did I buy this?
What was I thinking?
Yeah, like, why the hell did I buy this? Like, those belts are honestly, unless you're a true fan and you want one, you've got the money to go, you planned all the way through, you're like, hey, when I go to the show, I'm fucking buying this. He gets, you buy it and, you see these kids carrying it. And one time I went and bought action figures from some person who may or may not be too sweet. And I bought some action figures from some guy's kid, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we bought this belt for our kid at the show, and they don't really like it, so we'll throw it in for for another $100." I was like, "Well, cool, I'm down,"
Oh, that's good.
Like, so I got like a lot of action figures in that for like $400 with a belt, and I was like, "Okay, cool," but at the end of the day, it was one of those things where it was like, okay, so I've got, I got this belt, and like people just buy them, and they're like, they buy them as like an impulse buy. Like, it's like, oh, I need this for the rest of my life. And then they get there and it's like, it's sitting in their house and they have nowhere to put it and they don't know how to manage it. And you know what I mean? Like, their wife is pissed off for them buying it. And you know what I mean?
It's true. I've got loads of replica belts. The spinner is one of them. It's a great replica. It's like, it's not
it's a great belt.
It's not exactly like the real thing. It's not as thick, or it's got some some differences in the artwork and things like that. But as replicas go, it's very thick plates, very heavy, great detail. It's got the gimmick with the spinner. I've managed to isolate it in a very clever way, which I've never revealed to anyone. I didn't pay for the stupid bolt that goes on the back.
Did you put something under where it says champ?
I used like neoprene foam. That like the foam that you get on the underside of a mouse mat. I basically cut a few strips of that neoprene black foam and tucked it underneath, and it's perfect for just isolating it without damaging anything. And I just put like three pieces of that neoprene underneath, and it acts like a pressure fit, but it's soft enough that it doesn't do any damage, and it just isolates perfectly, and you don't need to put any, and you can easily pull it out and it will spin as normal. You don't have to, because the problem with the bolts that the manufacturer at that time was Figures Inc., Wrestling Superstore. What they were selling, they had this bolt that you could put in the back, but what was happening is people were putting them in and they didn't know when to stop tightening it up, and what would happen is the post would break off in the thread, and you'd ruin it basically. And I read about
because
this
somebody
online.
Oh, actually, I had it happen to me. I bought the non-spin screw, and I was at Access, and somebody walked by and tried to spin it and snapped the bolt.
That's it, and it just it was flawed in that, because I think the reason why people over tightened it is because it didn't, even when you put the non-spin, it didn't truly spin it.
Yeah, and if you spun it even more,
It just tightened around it. Yeah,
Yeah, it tightened or loosened. It was a completely flawed situation.
Yeah, and then
But like I
people
said, I
wrecking
mean,
the belts. You know, it's just
yeah. I mean, what you had to do is you had to, and then if it broke, depending on how it broke, I've repaired like 6 of them. You would have to lay it down flat, and then you'd have to sand down the sides a little bit on the piece that holds it, and you'd have to sand it down to where the screw was sticking out a little bit, and take some needle nose pliers and just spin them to try and get it off.
Jesus.
So, I
What
mean, and luckily,
procedure.
yeah, luckily everything's hidden, so you can't tell that the work's been done, but it's just terrible for the fact that people are paying all this money just for something that's not going to work anyways.
Good belt, and it is actually. You could argue that the replica is ring accurate because the Miz was actually holding a replica for a short while during his reign as actual WWE champion. And so,
you could also say that Jack Swagger, that the Jack Swagger belt was ring accurate.
I remember he had a flat.
Same with Drew McIntyre's Intercontinental.
Yeah.
Same with Drew McIntyre's Intercontinental title when the volcano hit.
Jesus, terrible. How could they do that? And in TNA, I remember them using the Midwest Eagle TNA title. They for a while, I think Jeff Hardy was holding, because the original Midwest belt got super beat up. One of the wings snapped off on top of the Eagle. So yeah, they ended up putting replica, not re-leathered, with the actual. You could tell it was because when Jeff lifted the belt up, you could see the bolts on the back, the Chicago screws, and yeah. Anyway, we're going far too into the ins and outs of belt marking. We're belt marking out here at the moment, but where have we finished with Raw?
No.
What more is there from Raw?
There's the last thing. The last segment is Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns.
Oh, I fell asleep.
No. Well, there was a confrontation between them, and I know he got him with a couple of Superman punches, and then and I think Brock Lesnar gave him an F5 or something like that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, you F5'd him on the belt. I don't think that was planned.
No. But, I remember there was a segment where he like basically parted the Red Seas, and there was like all the jobbers came out, and like he told them like, "You're really gonna let this guy, get away with it, and he comes out here part-time, we're busting our ass every week?" And then like I feel like they're overdoing it with the whole thing. Like at first it was cool because it was kind of like a blurred line, but now it's just kind of like, it just seems like they're overusing the whole like Brock Lesnar as a part-timer thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
that was the end of Raw. So,
yeah, I mean they're gonna. Yes, I can't wait to see this this match between this company guy, this stand-up company guy such as Roman Reigns. The loyal Roman Reigns against the part-timer Brock Lesnar, and
the problem. The big problem with all that is there's no Seth Rollins to save us this year.
That's true. That means it has to come to a resolution by itself. And,
unless we let Carmella cash in on fucking Brock, I mean, I'm okay with that at this point. I'm 100% on board. I'm on board with it as long as we don't have to fucking watch Brock and freaking what's his name wrestle for too long.
That would be hilarious.
Hey, who knows? Maybe they'll be the first match of the night.
Dreams don't come true.
No chance. It's more likely that they'd put AJ and Shinsuke at the curtain jerks.
Well, they got 2 battle royals to get through, so one of those should open the show, and 2 tag titles.
True.
It's kind of like the planning sucks because they have to try and keep all the matches aside from each other. I have it on good authority that there's going to be the triple threat tag match is going to be turned into a TLC match, but I could be wrong.
That's interesting.
That'd be cool. Give it a bit of a gimmick.
Just so long as the rules aren't like that, you have to get put through a table to to win. Like I want it to be like just they can use the tables, ladders, and chairs, but I don't want I don't want it to be like if they go through the table they win. You know what I mean? Like I don't want that stipulation.
Yeah, it's just we'd rather just have the carnage.
Yeah, I never appreciated the never appreciated that. So, but in any case, all right, boys. Well, Dustin, it was nice having you on again. Not that I don't talk to you every day of our lives anyway, but and Howie, always a pleasure, of course.
Thank you very much. Enjoy it.
We will reconvene next
week.
Yeah,
I mean, probably after WrestleMania.
Yeah, so that's going to be a big one. But thank you everybody for listening, and